Hi everyone. Alright, welcome to this space if you're new here, and welcome back if you're returning. Okay, before we jump into your cards, there's a message I'd like to be shared this time. It's been a while since this has been happening, right? And it's been a lot of time put into things, right? A lot of energy, a lot of words, a lot of thinking, a lot of feeling. Excuse me. Clearing, right? And so here we are. And I want to thank you for being a part of that journey. Thank you for your effort. Thank you for your time. And the thing is that we're coming back into that place of knowing that everything is connected, is helpful, and I guess needed to disconnect from certain things. And so I hope this reading is of service for you. And again, I thank you for your time. Alright, let's open up your cards. Oh my gosh. This key. Same place. Just a second. So you're weaving something in your heart right now. There are also like female family members or female ancestors that are also helping that. Just a second. So this is faith in your heart. Maybe faith in your heart to remember where you came from. And because there's a part of someone where they don't really know who they are. They're afraid to be who they are. They keep trying to change into something else. But it's a change that comes from an emotional response instead of like it's a means of protection or sadness that causes the change to be something else. So there's music here that's helpful. There's music. Music is vibration, right? Okay, so certain things that are really, there's information here that's really powerful, right? Information that's really magical, maybe even unexplainable to other people. And there's something here where it's good to remember that, well, you are valuable. That what you know is valuable. But sometimes that knowing or that gaining of information or knowledge is for your own wisdom. And not everyone's going to get it if you try to tell people what it is. Some might, but it reminds me of that, you know, what is it? Don't throw pearls before swine, right? Because they don't know that it's not, they don't know what it is. And so they just eat it up, and then, and they can't absorb it, right? And then they just let it go. Eventually it just leaves them. They take, it goes in and then it goes right out, you know, in one ear, out the other, in one hole, out the other. So try not to force any of your opinions at this time either. I would also say, if there's things that you're doing, I wouldn't tell everybody what you're doing. Not to be secretive, not to say this is mine and it's not yours and I don't want to share. It's just understanding that some of the messages in the way that they're picked up, the information, right? Maybe that's just for you to know. I see maybe someone learns a secret. Or again, put something together. Now, of course, one can try to share what they know. So one can try to want to help, right? But to make the magic carpet fly, one has to believe in their heart, believe in their soul that that's possible. I guess it goes back into that, oh, okay, everything's connected. I am this. Don't eat that buggy, please. Good girl. That everything is connected so that one can then disconnect from certain things to actually make it happen, right? That's needed. So I guess it also takes time to understand what it is that's going on. And whatever this all is, this information, this magic, this wisdom even, it's something to definitely be taken seriously. It's something to it's meant to be used with good intention, right? Good intention is needed. If one tries to take a serious thing and put a how do I see this? Well, I guess when one doesn't feel protected, then they pretend who it is that they are. When they don't feel supported. Or if they lean too heavy on others for support, ultimately, then what happens is they feel empty anyway. Because it's almost as if someone wants to know how to do something. That's what they want to know. I want to know how to do that. How someone's like, I see you doing that. I want to do that. How do I do that? Again, I see someone sees someone else doing something, and they're like, I want to do that. So there's influence here. But again, every person is their own person. One is not supposed to do something exactly like somebody else because you're your own person. Everyone's their own. But there's mimicry, right? We mimic one another to learn. That's how we learn, modeling. The models we have teach us what to do. So remember your influence around you. Now, you may remember something in this time that's very helpful. Excuse me. Something that's helpful. Like there's a kind of recall into what you want to do. This could be a hard memory. Maybe there's a fantasy around something, or like a projection. Which makes one overly protective to what they have. Because they're afraid of letting go of a feeling. But that's only one string, and that string has a knot in it. Keep seeing a really beautiful woven like tapestry or rug that has a lot of red in it. So we're talking about security and the root of the tree, right? But there's also like a fire that's burning underneath that, you know. And someone's waiting. It's like there's a chair that's empty and someone's made space, right? And they're like, okay, I'm going to make space for this so that when this comes in, it has a place to be. But there's something that needs to be fixed before. Because if it showed up now, it's like there's still a part that's really weak about it. There's a weak point, and it actually wouldn't necessarily support what it is that wants to come in. So one has to put in more effort to ensure that something's ready. There's a lot of Sagittarius energy here. What's that saying, like, you're in the hot seat? You're in the hot seat. Maybe you want to realize that the ability and the magic that you have now, the knowing, the knowledge that you have now, the experience, that is enough for you to go to the next step. What if that was all that you had? The knowledge that you have, the healing that you have, all of that. What if that is all that you have? Because I keep seeing someone in one place and they need to move forward. Because there is, even if that person doesn't move, it's like what's underneath you is still moving you forward. Right? What you're standing upon is still, what you're standing within, someone is standing within is still moving them forward. Now, I suppose someone could be going through something here that is difficult, that is hard for them to accept. It's kind of like stripping away the ego about it, I guess. Like, really getting down to the bones of it, you know? Undoing the whole tapestry and then winding the threads and starting from scratch, you know? I guess experience are kind of these threads. The warp and the weft. But the tension is off a little bit, like, within the weaver, right, there are three fates. one who gathers, one who measures, and one who cuts. Right? This is always happening. So I guess these different stages, depending on where you are, I want you to... It's almost as if someone's seeking something so deeply. They're like, I have to find this key before I can change. But it's like, you already have the key. Someone has to stop pretending that they're not strong enough. Someone has to believe in themselves more. Because it's almost as if, well, someone feels like, well, I failed before. Someone could be thinking about when they've failed. Or when they missed the mark. You know? And so that stops them from seeing what's right in front of them. Their courage or their imperfections as whoever it is that a person is enough again to hold that and give them enough to step forward. I see Scorpio now here. So there's already been information that's been shared, right? Sacred information, really helpful, magical knowledge. It's already been given. Now it's almost like, okay, I'm going to step back. What are you going to do with this? And it's almost like there's been a lot of time in between there. So one has to actually sit with themselves a little bit and try to remember what's important to them, what they have learned, and then put those pieces together. Now, it may be one of those things where you go to put something together and you're like, well, this isn't what I wanted to make. This isn't what someone was expecting, which could discourage a person to be like, I'm just going to scrap the whole thing. I'm not even going to try that kind of energy. But part of it is that you're supposed to figure out how to work. One is supposed to figure out how to work with what they have. Again, what if this was all the money you have? What if this was all the learning that you could do in this life? What if this was as far as you are, that is what you have? How do you feel about that? What can you do with what you have? Not to stop you from, because remember, one, even if they try to stay put, what you're within is still pushing you out, right? It wants you to move. It's still, there's a forward momentum, right? Or even if you try to stay put, it's going to push you again, like, if you don't want to get off the merry-go-round, right, there's still that person pushing that's still spinning it. One has to decide how to communicate. There could definitely be some past energy boiling up too. Like some buried things. A little bit. There's a little bit of that. Again, that recall. But you remember, you have the information, you have the knowledge to be able to deal and assess the situation correctly. How is it that you're like your family? Somebody else had this key, a few people, but there was one reading, I don't remember now, where the key went into the heart. The key opened the heart. And this card was there too, and the Scarlet Woman. Yes, yes, yes. Whatever reading that was, that one is connected to this. Remember, the way through also is to enjoy yourself a little bit. To accept yourself. To accept maybe each other. I don't know. But as this is your reading, it's like... You know, sometimes part of the way through is not always comfortable. And so therefore then it's, well, if life is a spiral, then you're touching on all these points as you go around. You know, it's the Time Lord. It always goes back to Saturn, doesn't it? Okay. If anything does become too intense, you do have support. I need you to remember that. You want to know where your emotional support systems are. If you're not receiving it from others in whatever way, even when you reach out, then maybe you need new circles. Or this could also be where you have to find this in yourself to a certain extent. Like the same reading that had this card at the bottom, the last card, that'll also be helpful. This key has been so strong this time frame. But remember, it's the way through, so it's about faith and overcoming loneliness. And realizing also that the intellectual, the learning, again, that knowledge part, that isn't ultimately fulfilling. We have to touch on all the parts, all four corners, right, to make it fly, to make it levitate, and do something else, bring you to a new place. Okay. Thank you so much for being here. I do hope this was of service. I'll talk to you next time.